why can't we treat our wellness as a KPI? There is a way to democratize it. So I think, when you want to make wellness should be for everyone. You can get sales now, deals on your blood work.
Wow.
Where have you heard of a time where we're getting discounts on lab work? I think setting boundaries is really important. And I think, even just living that example for your own kids, I try really hard.
Dr. Sapna Sriram is a renowned leader in the field of sports medicine, rehabilitation, fitness, and sports performance. She's a chiropractor, registered acupuncturist, and certified strength and conditioning specialist. You may actually recognize her as the on-air injury expert for shows like The Social, CTV News, Cityline, and CP24.
It is so much easier to say you don't have time. Sadly, we prioritize chaos. We prioritize being rushed. We prioritize things that aren't for ourselves. Go on an abrupt vacation, change their job. We know the stress is going to be there when we come back. Because I think if we start to look at why we're feeling this way and address the why we're in this feeling in the first place, you maybe don't look towards another thing that's going to bring you happiness.
Hello and welcome to Table 6. I'm Dana Duncanson.
And I am Tiana Jayatunga. We are so excited to welcome our guest today.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We're so happy to have you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. What a
Happy New
great
Year.
way to kick off the year talking about wellness.
Honestly, and you probably know that every time a new year rolls around, everyone wants to talk about health being their number one goal, right?
Yep.
How do you feel about that as a goal, and how do you feel about New Year's resolutions in general?
So look, I look at it like this. I think if this is the trigger that we need to get people to start talking about health and wellness, great. Like, I think it's so wonderful that people try to prioritize health and wellness. And if that's what we need to kind of push our, our movement forward to get people to want to be healthier, I think it's wonderful. But where I have a problem with it is when people try to sprint and they don't realize, there's a long game to this.
Yeah.
And it's not just about setting quick things that you can't commit to.
Yeah.
So that's where I think, and it gets noisy, right? It gets really hard to navigate all the different things that are out there and what to do, how to do it. And I think that's where it gets a little bit of like what's a fad versus what's actually going to stick.
Yeah. You're talking to me. I'm definitely the person who is
right
in the gym first thing on January 1st. And then I do it all but 3 weeks and then it slowly starts to fall away.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you prioritize the topic of health. Like, what are sort of 3 health areas that we should be focused on?
So look, I think, the health and wellness movement is moving so much more into longevity, right? You're hearing that word everywhere. There's longevity products, longevity services, there's longevity everything right now, because I think we're finally getting it as a civilization. We want to live as long as possible, but be as healthy as possible for those years that we're on this planet for, right? And we don't want to just be around and be unhealthy, and we want to enjoy those years, right? So I think when you think about health and wellness and just what you should prioritize, we need to think about the fundamentals. I think we get too caught up in like the fancy gadgets and all the biomarker testing and all the things that exist in this world. And I think they're all great and they serve a purpose. But if you're really going to dial in and just say, where can I start? Sleep is so important. I think, we wear this badge of honor, like, you're lucky, you get 8 hours, I only sleep 5. I think that needs to go away. I think we need to start being proud of prioritizing sleep and realizing that it cognitively and physically have so many benefits. It changes our cortisol, it changes our mood, it changes our overall ability to handle stress. Like, there's just too many benefits to it. So sleep for sure. You're going to love this one. Muscle and strength training.
Oh.
Okay.
So right. You said 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And if anything, just realizing again, the biggest part of longevity and prioritizing our health and wellness is really muscle. Muscle is the engine that's going to help our health. It changes our metabolic functions. It changes our overall mood. And you'll hear me use the word mood so much, but I think it's so important, right? Like our mind body is just so connected. So if you were to kind of just take one thing, what can I do? Implementing some sort of strength training program. And the last thing I think would be protein. Just again, we talked about hydration. Hydration is still super important. I think it was like really topical for the last few years.
Yeah.
But I think we should actually think about protein. I think most of us don't get enough. And if you're thinking about all these other supplements, start with protein.
Well, with protein, it's so interesting because I feel like every product nowadays is like promoting protein.
It's advertised
popcorn
everywhere.
Even popcorn has protein
Popcorn.
in it now. Like it's crazy.
Even like the Tim Hortons
Yes.
protein. Did you see that?
No.
They're having like protein.
Starbucks has protein. You can add a shot of protein to your coffee now.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Crazy. I mean, I don't know how it lasts and how much it's absorbed and how much, but it is an important piece to our, nutrition, and just again, how does our body actually, stabilize when we're just taking in carbs and sugars and all of these other, kind of junky foods. So yeah, we want to have a whole diet, but I think that doesn't translate all the time, and people still feel like, oh, but I'm not, hitting the goals that I want. I'm not seeing the results that I want. I don't feel different. And I think when you start to actually dial it back and say, okay, well, what's one ingredient that no one's allergic to? Well, some might have an inability to break down protein. That's another health issue. But for the most part, everybody can consume protein.
Yeah.
And it's important that we actually normalize how we get our protein and actually prioritize that.
What are your thoughts on the amount of protein we should be consuming? Because I follow, the chat GPTs and the internet, and it seems like I should be eating like 12 chicken breasts a day.
Okay, so here's the crazy thing. Back when I started out in this world, like over 20 years ago, I used to tell people 1 gram per kilogram. And I was like, that's still a lot, like per kilogram. It's a decent amount of protein. Now, if you talk to any sort of longevity like specialist, they're actually saying a gram per pound.
Wow.
That's insane. You just like 2.2x your protein intake when you actually look at that ratio. So that's why I think when you look at how much we're actually getting in, most people have a hard time with that. I mean, if you just think about even if at 100 pounds body weight, 200 pounds body weight, that's a lot of protein.
Yeah.
It's a lot of protein.
I feel like another thing that people are really caring about this year, or I guess it has been a trend, is dry January. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that and your thoughts on dry January.
Yeah. Like, again, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, especially when you come off of December and there's just so many parties. There's a lot of pressure to incorporate, cocktails and drinks and it's hard to say no. And you have a function now on every weeknight and weekends. It becomes a lot, and you always go into sort of January kind of feeling gross. So I think the fact that there is a thing called dry January and people try to stick to it is really awesome. But I think it's what your intentions are after that. Because if it means you're just going to binge for the other 11 months and you're going to go back to habits, like we know, alcohol is also just not a great thing for most people. There's just not enough to justify how much we drink. And I think societally, we're starting to see decreases in alcohol consumption as a whole, which is interesting, right? Like I think younger populations are less and less motivated by alcohol versus, millennials and the older generation were. So I think that's actually, interesting. But I do think that if we're going into a dry January, that's great for your liver. But just thinking about what are we going to do to sort of change just general drinking habits, because it's one thing to have a really busy December, but a lot of people just go back into I have a work dinner, I have a this, I have a that. Every night becomes a social night, and what's a glass of wine or 2 or 3? Right. And then you add up, you've had like 20 glasses of wine by the end of the week.
No, I'm with you. We just got out of the holiday season and I felt like every event, there were multiple offers to have lots of alcohol.
Totally.
It's always a thing.
It's everywhere.
But I also just feel like, millennials, like as we get older, like our bodies are like, you can feel the effect of the alcohol. So then you go through this season of all of this overconsumption, and then January hits and the holidays are over and people are back to reality. Right. And then they're jumping into things like dry January. Yeah. How do you take a sustainable approach to being able to implement, these sort of top health focus areas throughout the year, so that you're not, working really hard in January and then suddenly
you fall off?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think the reason why most people fall off is I think they just set goals that are just really hard. And we're not kind to ourselves. Like, I think when we kind of look at what we want to accomplish, we're like, yeah, I can do this. But I think when you think about, then there's life, boom, there's life, boom. Like you just keep getting hit by like so many different things that impact your ability to succeed. So I think, and that really demotivates people, right? I think that's just such a quick, okay, well, I put on the weight again, or, I'm not sleeping again. Like there's just so many things. So I think for us, we look at January, it's a reset. Yeah. It's a way to definitely rewire, reframe, regroup, do all the good things that our body and get that little dose of like happiness, like I feel good. This is making me feel good. So to maintain it, I think it's just really important that we have slow, steady state goals that we can implement and sustain. So like, I'll give you an example. I fell off like fitness for a couple months, and I'll admit it. I'm very open about it. I just got really busy, and I hit burnout, and I could not physically face working out. Like no matter how much sleep I caught up on, I was like, man, I'm just catching up on sleep. I'm going to not do it for a week or two. I'm just going to prioritize because I'm a morning workout person. And then it got to the point where I'm like, it's been like a while, like this. And then I finally just hit this like, okay, I'm going to do it. And it was sometime in like November. I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And you know what I did? I didn't start off with a crazy hour. I didn't go to a class. I literally just gave myself a goal of 20 minutes.
That's good. That's measurable
short,
too.
Sweet. Yeah. I don't even care if I sweat.
Yeah.
Just 20 minutes. So I alternated. I did like a 20-minute run, which was really a jog because I was so deconditioned. Or it was like a 20-minute walk. And then I did like a 20-minute quick like strength training workout.
Yeah.
And honestly, it kicked my butt. Like I was sore every day.
Yeah.
But then I actually started to like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is easy. And then I was like, no, I have to get it in. And then I actually built on that.
Good.
And it made me feel like I could actually do it again. And I wanted to do it. Because if you don't want to, and if you don't enjoy it, you're going to fall off.
Yeah.
What are some good tips that you could say for people who have a bunch of different goals? How do they keep it consistent? How do they make it sustainable and something that they can achieve long term?
I'm always about go after the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
What's the
good.
easiest low hanging fruit, man? Like if you have a yoga mat and something right in your living room and you're just like trudging like, oh, I don't want to walk to the gym. It's snowing outside. I don't want to clean my car. Then do something at home. Like if it means you get an extra 20 minutes of sleep, like just start off small. Same thing with like, if you're trying to kick caffeine, just starting off small, like, okay, well, drop the one. Don't just say I'm going to go cold turkey, right? Because then we have rebound headaches. We have so many other health problems with that. But I think the problem is we're just such an all or nothing. Like, I'm going to do it all or I'm going to do nothing, And I think we have to kind of get ourselves somewhere. The road is not linear, right? You don't just like exponentially get somewhere. Like you're going to have bumps along the way. And even us as healthcare professionals, like we fall off our own trajectory too. Like someone who's been in the fitness industry for 2 decades plus, like for me to not work out, period, like that is insane. But we all go through it. And I think we have to be kind and we have to be realistic about what we can do to be successful.
I love that. And I love that you talk about being realistic, because I do think as much as we want to maybe look at introducing all these health areas and ways in which we can better our health in a sustainable way, the reality is we are going to be having the drink throughout the year, or we will have a busy day or a week or a few weeks and we fall off our fitness goals. And so I think, it's really, I love that you're saying this. I have a question about alcohol and wine specifically. So maybe let's see if we can debunk this. There's that saying, a glass of wine a day keeps the doctor away.
I think that's an apple, but okay. Sure.
Well, good point. And but I wonder though, I've heard people use that. I've seen people who have found other ways of justifying having their wine. And you also see examples of people who've lived to be older and their secret is they're having a glass of red wine.
I have a story on that. Actually, my great grandmother lived till, it wasn't wine though. She lived till 100 years old. And every single day she would have a shot of brandy at 4 or 5 p.m.
Yeah.
It seems to work for her. But I feel like our generation is so different now.
So they've actually researched this. Like there are blue zones where they actually research centennials and they actually want to see what keeps them ticking.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because to your point, there are so many centennials that have drank wine every single day, like socially, like it was just part of their meal. It was part of their routine and it wasn't what made them, break. But I think, when you look at it in different regions, you realize it's not just the one thing. It's the compounding, right? It's the other lifestyle choices. It's the stress. It's the, it's the lack of sleep. It's the diet. It's the epigenetics of like everything else that just adds to it. So I think I mean, I don't even know if I got to your question. What was your question?
Well, the
about
question
wine?
is, is a little bit of alcohol or wine good for you?
You know what? It's so interesting because there's some that will say no alcohol. There's studies that say no amount of alcohol is good for you. And, in modesty is another, is another recommendation that, that health professionals will kind of steer you towards, like, a few a week is okay. And I think, again, we have to all be realistic about what is sustainable. And I think deep down, we all know if we're having too much, and where we can cut back. And I think if it's something that's already on your mind, I think that's already probably the sign that maybe that is your sign. If you're already thinking about how much wine I have, maybe that is something that you need to actually think about, because, without knowing anything about someone's health, there could be so many other factors and things that we don't know, right? Like it's much deeper than just how much wine is okay for me. But there's enough evidence that talks about just, having it as a consistent beverage. Not probably the most ideal for most of us. I mean, unless you're a Blue Zone Centennial that lives in like, like the
then you can drink all the wine,
like,
all the wine you want because you've reached
like the highest mountain of Peru.
Exactly.
It's a little different. I think their societal pressures and other environmental toxins are probably a little different.
It's so true. And with that, we want to talk a little bit about Dry January, and we have partnered with Sobr Market. So we're going to try a couple of non-alcoholic drinks from Sobr Market.
Thirsty.
So let's go into that.
Let's bring them out. So we partnered with our friends at Sobr Market to get a better understanding of what options are available. Located at Waterworks Food Hall, Sobr Market is a great place to grab non-alcoholic beverages, including spirits, wines, beers, and mixes. So we're going to do a little taste test to see which ones are our favorites. So let's dive right in. The first one we've got here is In Good Company.
Which we are in.
Yeah. I hope this is a good one. Let's crack it open.
All right.
While we're doing that, a little bit about it. So it is a Holy Smoke smoked ruby paloma.
Ooh.
Canadian product, women own, founded. And it does not strongly mimic that of an alcoholic paloma. So let's give it a taste.
Okay.
I think this one is like...
I like that one, actually.
refreshing.
Yes. It's really, I like the smell.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's the
if people
grapefruit.
really smell their
that
drinks.
citrusy
but that
smell.
effervescence,
Yeah.
when you smell a drink, if it's going to be good. That's the first thing I noticed.
A little bit more about it. Functional ingredients include essential vitamins and digestive prebiotic. And it's available in 4 flavors. So that's our first one.
I
Our
love
that.
Second one.
I like that it's a functional mocktail for the health professional in me.
Yes. Ooh, next one. A gin and tonic. Is that
Gin and tonic, HP Juniper.
Oh.
So it's a Canadian product, again, mimicking cocktail and available in other flavors such as whiskey and cola, pina colada, and Mai Tai.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a fizz. I get like an automatic alcoholic taste, which it doesn't have. I know it doesn't have it, but it's like there is like the same flavor as a gin in there a little bit. I don't know.
I like that this one's drier.
Yes. Yeah.
It's coming off very dry, which is really nice.
Awesome. Let's move to the next one.
It smells good too.
Yeah. LSDC Cold Brew Espresso Martini. Now, I am a coffee fan, not so much in the martini form.
I love an espresso
So
martini.
I don't like coffee, but I started liking espresso martinis.
Interesting. And I'm the opposite. I love my coffee, but we'll see if I like this one.
All right.
You know what it kind of tastes like? It's
Caramel.
like, yeah, I was going to say like a frappuccino in a sense, but without the foam. Like it's that same like underlying flavor.
So I don't like the traditional espresso martini, but I love this. I would definitely have this. This is...
So I was going to say the thing that I do like about an espresso martini is when there's a little bit of that frothy, sweet, foamy topper. And this is giving that.
Oh.
But it's not giving like over. So far, none of them are that sweet.
Yeah.
Which I like.
And maybe what you can do is mix this and do a little cocktailing of your own at home to get that frothiness.
Right?
You can actually like blend chickpea water. If you shake up chickpea water, it turns into a foam, and then that could be your.
Now, how did you?
I don't know why.
How does one know this? Yes.
Very random fact.
And the coffee is real in this, yeah?
Non-alcoholic espresso martini blends, cold brew with rich notes of cocoa. I can taste the I can taste
for
the
sure.
cocoa, vanilla, caramel, and roasted coffee. Yeah.
Wow.
So that
I'm
one
going
was
to wash
super
my mouth
delightful.
down with some water before the last
Yeah, let's do a little palate cleanser.
They're all so different, right? Like we've gone from Paloma. I'm just going to say though, if we went from with real alcohol, if we jump from a Paloma to a gin and tonic to an espresso martini, we'd be flat on our
We'd be
face.
having a night for sure.
It's a
And a
really
sugar-
lit
and a-
podcast.
And a sugar headache for sure. Oh, wow.
Okay, this one's Gia Le Spritz. So fresh lime with a dash of sea salt. Includes potential extracts of natural nervines. Is that how I pronounce it? Nervine herbs that soothe the mind, bring the body back from burnout.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Countless hours were spent mixing and remixing to get the night balance of a taste and effect without adding any nasties.
Oh.
So you'll feel the spark and taste the bite.
I actually feel like it smells like a spa. Do you smell that? It's like when you
what
walk
Like a
in.
salt cave.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the ingredients, it says that it uses lemon balm extract and elderflower extract. Those are very
And there's
very strong
yuzu
flavors.
juice in here. Yes, and there's yuzu juice. So,
Yeah.
so you know, I think what I'm having a hard time with, I don't think it's the drink. I think it's because I know what a Paloma should taste
Yes.
like, what a gin and tonic so I'm already comparing, is it like the real thing?
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know what I'm comparing this to. So when I drink it,
Yeah.
this is just to me
Yeah.
its own creation. It's its own drink.
I like
So,
it.
what's your favorite out of these four?
I feel like I need to retry a few.
I really like the
wanna
I like the
mix them.
Paloma.
I think my immediate reaction, and I don't know if it was my first because it was the first drink, my immediate reaction was I was very pleasantly pleased with In Good Company because of the smell and the flavors. But I really also liked the gin and tonic. Like I like that I could
Yeah.
drink more of these. Like this, I think I would replenish.
Yeah.
This, I think my
and
palate
done.
might feel like it's too sweet
Yeah.
after a while. Like I couldn't imagine eating savory with this over and over. Like it would keep,
This
it
is
would
more like
balance
your
it.
cocktail hour
Yes.
drink. Yeah. Agreed.
Which was yours?
I like the Paloma though.
Oh,
For me.
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I just did this first and then I took the Paloma. I think for me, it's the gin and tonic. Only because I think I go for sustainability.
Oh, good call.
Long term. What was yours?
Surprisingly, the espresso martini, which I generally don't like, but I love this. It just tastes like a little liquid dessert, and I might try frothing it up with that chickpea water.
Yeah.
See what it tastes like.
But then I just remembered that in actual espresso martinis, you don't use like the sour topper. So you might just have to foam it with like one of those coffee foamers and
Yeah.
it would still do the same.
Yeah, no, this will be great. So if you're interested in participating in Dry January or trying any of these non-alcoholic drinks as part of your wellness plan this year, Sobr Market has a large variety of options available that are perfect for any occasion. And if you're in the downtown, check out their Richmond location at Waterworks Food Hall or the newly opened spot at the food court downstairs at The Well.
Ooh.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, welcome back to the table. We just drank a bunch of non-alcoholic drinks. I think
Delicious
they were
alternatives.
delicious. They were
Pretty good.
really great.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about your wellness vision for 2026.
Yeah, there's so many things that people can try, so many trends that are online. I think New Year's is always a time where people want to embrace like just different challenges. I want to know for you, like, what does your wellness vision look like in 2026?
Oh, well, personally, I think for me, it's movement. So really prioritizing as much movement as possible. Like I said, last year, I started with 20 minutes and now, I'm actually enjoying it so much that I'm actually almost thinking about, okay, do I want to like challenge myself? Do I want to, have some fun goals now? Maybe sign up for a race or a competition.
That's cool.
But I think my wellness vision is really, like going back to what I said earlier, right? It's like there's sleep. Sleep is just so fundamental. Like no more sort of, wearing a badge of like honor of like, oh, I don't get any sleep. You're so lucky. Like I think sleep for sure is a big part of my 2026 movement. And really just trying to figure out how to prioritize our overall just like mind body connection, like anything that we can do to regulate our nervous system to just, really think about how stress impacts our body and what ways we can do to just really detox from that.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think understanding how your body feels and getting really comfortable with it and understanding like what you need. And we all have the little signs that we can feel, right?
Totally. I mean, stress manifests in tension, headaches, shoulder pain, back pain, like, oh, it's just my job. Like, well, yeah, but it's how you react. It's all these little habit forming things that are negative and we just don't pay attention to.
Yeah. And I feel like jobs have changed so much now. 100%. It's like working remote has become a huge part. So how do you balance that?
Look, I don't think it's any different than if you're commuting into work. Like you just have to set aside, I look at wellness and these things, like we talked about it, right? Like if you set out goals that are just so impossible to meet, like if you don't have 90 minutes, but I'm going to work out for 90 minutes and you can't maintain it, then, your goals are kind of like you have to set goals that you can actually stick to and have a vision that's actually for the whole year, not just for the month, not just for the quarter, right? And every quarter reevaluate that, right? Like your vision's going to change. Like you're going to start out the year with one goal. And you may not hit it and you might surpass it. But I think it's just really important, just like we do at work, we have quarterly objectives, we have annual reviews, right? Why can't we treat our wellness
I love that
as a KPI?
Yes. Yeah. We should be treating ourselves like we have a business plan for our lives.
100%.
That's so true.
And remember, right? If you manifest it enough, I mean, it's cheesy as it sounds, but if you have a vision board for January, include your wellness in that and stare at it in the face. Like if you're like, this is the year I want to get stronger. If this is the year I want to, work on my migraines, like whatever that goal is for you, small or big, like I think visualize it, talk about it, and inch your way towards it and have accountability partners. Yeah. That's another big one too. Is part of your vision and your wellness vision is don't try to do it in silence. Like I think that always just sets you up for failure.
Yeah.
Like, talk to your healthcare providers about it. They're there to literally, be your cheerleader.
But even find a friend in the neighborhood.
But that's what I was gonna say.
That's the biggest.
Your friends, this is why group fitness is also just such it's community, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a few people that you aspire to kind of have these goals with, like I can't remember. There was this one amazing CEO. He actually started a 5 a.m. club, and this 5 a.m. club was just an accountability call. Everyone woke up 5 a.m. They did a phone call for like a few minutes. I can't remember who it is now, but it's going to drive me crazy. But it's a great, amazing business leader. And by I think within weeks, that few people, like the 4 or 5 friends where he was like, I just really need an accountability partner to work out. That 4 or 5 friends turned into, I think he has a community now of like 2,500 people that join this accountability call.
Wow.
And they don't miss it unless they're like on a different time zone traveling. And it's just there to be like, okay, this is the accountability I need to actually hit my goals.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So
I feel like recently people get overwhelmed with the day-to-day and just like what wellness is supposed to look like. Have you heard of the term, the whole quiet luxury wellness? Have you heard of that?
I have.
What do you think about that? And for people who don't know what it is, could you explain it in what you think it is?
I think the quiet luxury, when you're looking at all of these different things right now, like I think, you're seeing it with like, whether it's subscribing to biomarker and lab testing, you're, bypassing the whole, healthcare provider entirely and going straight to getting diagnostics,
right?
Or going to these cryo chambers or going to these, different like wellness circuits. Like some of them, I think, if it's really helping you and you really feel good about it, I think it's great. But I think there's also becoming a lot of pressure now. Like I have to do all of these things and it's, I have to drink this $20 smoothie or have this whole cocktail or listen, I think we need to stick to things that feel pure to us. And there's going to be people who are always going to take it to the next level, right?
Yeah.
Just straight up. Like there's going to be people who are crazier than, healthcare providers that preach this stuff, and they're going to make us look bad. But I think realistically, quiet luxury is just, if you really think about it, it's just finally making it mainstream to be healthy.
Yeah.
I think quiet luxury has become this, we're not going to say it out loud, but you'll see it because I'm going to have that healthier dish at the restaurant.
Right.
I go to this, studio for my fitness. I go here for my recovery. I drink this for my, pre, post, and all the different probiotics, which is great. But I think, you're just seeing it expand across so many different places. And some of it is hype, some of it is trend. But I think some of it, the intentions are all really there, but I think some people just get too confused by all of it.
It is a lot to balance though, because it's like, it's hard to balance like the quiet luxury wellness and then people who don't have it as like, it's not as affordable for so many people.
And to your point, like quiet luxury too, like, there are actual longevity and like wellness retreats that have become so expensive, like private islands and, just all these crazy things. And I mean, they're great, but listen, I think there's also a really high proportion of people that are now in their 50s, 60s that just have a lot of disposable income. And guess what? They want to live as long as possible.
Yeah.
And they want to be as healthy as possible. And that is translating now to our populations in the 20s and 30s where, they're not waiting until they get older.
Right.
They want to preserve their youth now so that, they can have as youthfulness of a life as possible into the decades to come. And so, there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of confusion around, do I need it?
Yeah.
But if you have the means for it and it's not causing harm and, it brings you joy and happiness, I think it's,
Well, I'm just thinking about just living in expensive cities,
Totally.
just the expense of existing in big
100%.
cities. So when you think about it on the flip side, let's talk a little bit about budgeting your
you
wellness.
can democratize wellness, guys. Like wellness does not need to be for the elite. It doesn't need to be for the high 10% of our population. I think wellness, we overcomplicate it as well, right? Like again, if these tools exist and people want to go and access these amazing, and let's be honest, why is it expensive, right? A lot of these things are expensive because there's not enough of it, and as we know, when
demand,
there's supply and demand, right? Like when the monopoly kind of ends, things get cheaper naturally,
right.
Especially the things that are here to stay. Like you're already seeing it with biomarker testing. Biomarker testing initially was like so expensive, and then companies started pouring in, and now you're starting to see like crazy sales. Like you can get sales now, like deals on your blood work.
Wow.
Where have you heard of a time where we're getting, discounts on lab work?
It's like commercialized in a way.
Well, it's now a consumer product.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's now become a consumer-led initiative for us to actually be able to go out and get our wellness. So there is a way to democratize it. So I think, when you want to make wellness should be for everyone. And wellness should mean things for everybody, right? And I think when you think about, again, can you make protein accessible? Yes, you can, right? Like, can you make sleep accessible?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you weight lift and do movement accessibly? 100%. So, there are lots of things that you can do to contribute to your own, to your own wellness and be on a track that's going to lead you to the same, probably honestly, in the end, the same outcomes. Meditation, mindfulness, distracting yourself from digital devices, like things that are toxic to you, and being aware of that and trying to offset that. A lot of these things, to be honest, they don't cost a whole lot of money.
No,
that's true.
And use your benefits. Like people have benefits afforded to them. Like so many people, they shock me.
Yeah.
They will spend so much money on their gym membership. And then they'll be like, they come in, the amount of people that I saw coming in, to the office in November and December because they had benefits, but they're very healthy, luxury wellness type consumers. And I'm like, why don't you integrate this into your plan? Like this is a longevity sort of concept, in itself. Like, you're working on your body to feel better instead of waiting till there's pain. Like we're normalizing even that in the rehab space, in the wellness space. So, and employers actually pay you to access this.
That's a really good point because we oftentimes tap into our insurance for dental work, and if we've got to go and see a doctor.
drugs. Yes.
Massages.
But there's all sorts of like chiropractic
Totally.
or like
There's
so many different
osteopath, chiropractors, naturopaths, you know, massage.
Yeah.
And even people, you know, people think they have to, they want to go to a spa for their massage, but then they go twice and then they can't go again. You know,
Yeah.
getting into a clinical massage is just as restorative and relaxing
Yeah.
as going to a spa. Yes. I mean, everyone loves to go to a spa, but can you actually do that on your lunch break? Probably not. Right. Again, thinking about sustainable ways to use your benefits too, right? Like,
Yeah.
so we can do this on a budget.
Yes.
And we can do it really well. And arguably we might even be better at it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's actually good because I treated myself to a massage and some other stuff at Hammam Spa. And you could actually use your benefits
Yeah.
for some of the services that they have there. And then there's all these other places in the area, Trove, other Ship Mobility House as well. That Integra, yeah, absolutely. And that's where you can literally bring your insurance benefits and apply them. And so, yeah, it makes sense to take advantage of it.
And I think everyone just needs to look at what is your resource pool, what can you do within your budget, and you know, prioritize a small chunk towards it for
Yes.
sure. But you know, don't let it overtake, and don't feel the pressure that you have to do these things or you won't live till you're, you know, healthily till you're like 80 or 90. I think that's a little extreme. I think we just need to think about these things because I mean, on that same token, like everyone's, you know, very focused on cosmetics and
Yeah.
you know, and how their appearance is. But remember, how's your skin? Your skin is the healthiest when your gut is healthy, when your body is healthy, right? And so, you
That's
know,
true.
that's another way to stay feeling youthful and looking young instead of, you know, only thinking about the $200 skin cream.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. There's like
Yeah.
$500 facials, and I want to know, are they effective? Like,
Well, look, even at Integra, we have services that for skin and aesthetics and cosmetics, we have services that range as low as, I don't know, $150 all the way to like a few thousand.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a range for a lot of different things. But again, it's no different than the quiet luxury wellness, right? Like there's a huge interest in peak now for everyone to want to test and try out all these things for their appearance and their skin and their youthfulness.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't a big like, I didn't think about these things 5 years ago, but I started to see signs of aging too. And now I'm just like, you know what, I'll try. If I can afford it, I'll try it.
yeah, and if it's in your benefits, like it doesn't actually hurt at all. Like those little modalities that we were talking about too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Listen, if it adds a little bit of joy, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So, you know, we heard a lot about the hustle culture that was pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. We're kind of getting back into that space, it feels like. And for you, you're a business owner, you're a clinician, a spouse, a mom, a friend. How do you manage to just keep it balanced and still stay resilient?
There's no such thing as balance.
That is an honest statement.
Yeah.
I appreciate
No,
that.
like, listen, one part of your life can be going extremely well and thriving. And I'm speaking about myself now.
Yeah.
And other parts can be falling apart. Right. And I think it comes in so many different waves. I stopped having this, like, you know, feeling of like, when this happens, I will finally blank,
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
it is. You know, I always kept like waiting for that moment. And I realized, I was like, I just keep moving the goalpost forward and forward. And I'm like, it's never going to come. There's always going to be something that's going to make you feel like you're right back into that, you know, threat response of stress and, you know, you're feeling overwhelmed. So I think the resilience piece,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of these things I just look as lessons, but I think it's really important to just, you have to manage, you know, your glass balls and you have your rubber balls, right? Like some are going to fall. The ones that don't shatter or don't, you know, you can leave those ones alone. Like, you know, so if like you're stressing out because your house isn't perfectly clean, is that going to shatter? No.
Yeah.
Right. But like if your kid is sick and you have to rush a really important meeting to go pick up your kid because they're sick, like you can't let that one drop, right? It's going to break. It's going to break.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know what, just getting really, really good at prioritizing what needs to happen now, what can wait. And, you know, the urgent versus non-urgent and balancing that, it's kind of almost like your email inbox strategy. Like you got to keep the same mentality for your life. What can wait? What's on a to-do timeless? Like, you know, I got to get this done by the end of the week. And what needs to be done right now in this moment, or that ball is going to break.
I love that. I love that analogy of glass ball versus rubber ball.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like there's so many things though that take our attention. So it's like, it's before in the past, you wouldn't have this phone or the screen that's following you around everywhere. So it's like you almost had more time to be able to segment things in your life and be like, okay, I know what the priority is. But then it's like now you'll get like a email that needs to be answered, or you have like from the minute you wake up to the second you fall asleep, the majority of people are on their phone and screen time. How do you feel screen time has affected our society, and how do you balance that?
That's a constant like juggle in my house. I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, I should say. Sorry. That is really difficult. I think, when someone comes to me, I first and foremost, I'll look at how they're managing their devices ergonomically. Because I'm like, at least if you're going to like doom scroll, at least doom scroll with better ergonomics. So, I'm looking at what's on your phone. Like, do you have a pop socket? Like I'm looking at ergonomically, at least do it right. So at least you're not completely destroying your body.
Yeah.
But digitally, like I think we just have this constant, oh my God, something so urgent. Like you don't live in the present. I think, we all can do better. I can do better. Like, I catch myself doing it too. We're all guilty of it. And I think we need to normalize that you're never going to get to a point where you can completely give it up. But I think setting boundaries is really important. And I think, even just living that example for your own kids, I try really hard in certain moments to not be on my device. And then there's other times where I just say, listen, kids, I have to get this done.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be on my computer,
Yeah. How do you deal with burnout?
Recognize it.
Yeah.
Recognize it.
What are flags? Because I feel like when you're always in that hustle culture and everyone's always moving fast, and so people don't even recognize like what burnout is and when it's happening. And even if we could understand that and sort of predict when it might happen, we could better deal with it. So,
like I said, I went through it, and I don't even think I noticed it for a while. It can manifest in weird ways. And some of it can just be your mood, right? You might just find like, okay, it's not maybe just hormones, right? Or hormonally, I'm not feeling this way, I'm feeling this way because of, maybe where I am hormonally, but all of a sudden it's like, it's not going away. Like I'm still feeling, like I wake up with like dread, anxiety. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to work out, like for example, like if you're consistently someone who loves to work out and you don't want to work out anymore.
Yeah.
Like these are things that you don't just take for granted. Like it's not just tiredness.
Yeah.
Like, and so it took me a long time to even realize that. I mean, and I'm on the other side. I can recognize it in my clients and, be very quick to be like, okay, these are some of the things that we're seeing here. We need to work on this. But I think when you think about burnout, you really need to, you need to realize it manifests differently. Diets can change, sleep can change, your relationship with people can change, your interaction at work can change. Your fuse, how quickly you get agitated.
Your habits, like you're consuming a lot of coffee and alcohol.
Yes. People resort to different things.
Yeah.
Is that becoming a comfort? Is that more than just a comfort? What is this for? Right.
Yeah.
And I think when you start to see like, okay, I am having way more, maybe it's not even alcohol, guys. It could just be chocolate. It could be something that's just not
Uber Eats.
Yes. Not wanting to do the things that you normally do, or like, not having a goal, or like feeling motivated to want to do things. Like those can also be signs. And sometimes we mask it. We'll be like, oh, I just don't like my job anymore. I'm going to look for a new job. And then that doesn't bring you happiness.
Yeah.
Or, I'm over this relationship.
Yeah.
It's like generalized.
It could even just be as like, I don't like my wardrobe. I'm going to go through a whole new, and then that doesn't bring you happiness. You know, the $500 facial is not bringing you happiness. Burnout can present in a lot of different ways. And I think we need to start to realize that, we need to know when we're not ourselves, certain triggers, and I think we look for happiness when we're miserable.
Yes.
That's true.
And it's interesting because I think if we start to look at, why we're feeling this way and address the why we're in this feeling in the first place. Yeah. You maybe don't look towards another thing that's going to bring you happiness. Right. And that's what usually makes people want to go off to either, like I said, change their job, go on an abrupt vacation. Like we know the stress is going to be there when we come back. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And we still want to prioritize vacations for sure. We need them. We're actually more productive when we come back, but some people use it as an escape.
Yeah. a lot of us have become like, the consumed with distractions. And so what are some ways that, the person who's working from home remotely, like I'm at home most of the day working remotely, and then suddenly it's 3 or 4 days have gone by and I have not actually gone outside. Which, until I run out of...
Get a dog.
Yeah.
Get a dog.
Get a
That's
dog.
actually so
That's actually
true.
a good one.
You can walk my dog if you want.
I'll walk your dog because I'm always traveling. So then I'm always like, what am I going to do with my
Take
dog?
the dog with you.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, look, I think wellness toolkit, right? Like, whether you have a team or you need to do it on your own, you need to carve out small chunks of time that you can actually successfully commit to something, right? If you're that person that sits at a desk for 4 hours and doesn't even take a break, put your snacks somewhere further away. Like, put them in your kitchen if you work in your bedroom. Make yourself actually physically move more throughout the day. Like simple little things. Like I tell people all the time, if you're at your desk at work, you got to get up and go to the bathroom. It's not probably right next to your office. You got to go by lunch. So you walk through the path if you're in Toronto, and you're going to be physical, but when you're sitting at home, that's probably not realistic. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that we can kind of carve out different little strategies for everybody. But if you're somebody that's glued to a device, take breaks, right? We always say like, you can't be fixated on a screen. Why do you think in high school there's periods, right, where they have little shifts in time?
Yeah.
You need to reset. You can't just go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting and not put buffers, right? So quick little things, put a buffer and use that buffer intentionally.
Yeah.
Like if you have someone who's scheduling meetings, no, you need a 10-minute buffer, 15-minute buffer. If you can't even do that, 10, bare minimum. You can't go into another meeting. I've learned this too. You can't go in from one type of meeting to another and be completely present. Like, what is this meeting about? What are we even talking about? Like, it's just so hard to shift gears.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're about completely different things.
Yeah.
And your brain has to go from like, okay, I'm preparing for this podcast, then I got to do this. And then it's a lot. So if we even have those little gaps, just getting up, going and brewing yourself a new coffee, going to the bathroom, you know what? Get up and do like a quick little movement series at your desk. Like anything to change it up is going to help to actually change your bad habits with your wellness routine, right?
That is definitely something I'm going to start adopting, because the other day I was on back-to-back calls and I realized I was talking for 12 hours.
Oh my
And by the time as I was done, I felt like I had 10 coffees and I was like wired and my brain felt fried. And we're looking at our
Calendar
screen.
blocking.
Yeah.
Calendar blocking.
Yeah.
You have to color code if you're that person who can't separate.
Wow, that's next level.
It is. But there's a lot of ChatGPT can help you do this. Color coding your schedule and your calendar and having like intentional gaps to do certain things. Like if you need to do deep work, if you need to want family time, if you want to have, I think if you have everything in a calendar and you otherwise you're just going to put things everywhere. And then all that's going to do is it's just going to add more chaos to an already chaotic life. And you're going to feel more overwhelmed. And then guess what's going to go out the window? Wellness. There's going to be zero time for it because you're not going to prioritize it. It is so much easier to say you don't have time. It's like my 11-year-old who doesn't want to make her bed. I don't have enough time, Mom, because I was like, well, what were you doing? You were getting ready for 45 minutes. So shave off. Why does an 11-year-old need to get ready for 45 minutes? Guys, I don't understand. I don't have the answers to this. But it's just prioritizing certain things. Like we choose to prioritize things that we like. And sadly, we prioritize chaos. We prioritize being rushed. We prioritize just, things that really, aren't for ourselves.
Yeah.
And what's for ourselves? Taking breaks, making sure to be honest, I think I would question too by putting more guardrails up on your schedule and
That's good.
and putting up more barriers to learn to say no. You're probably going to realize that you end the day feeling less anxious. You realize that, you carved out enough time to be productive, right? Because meetings aren't productive.
Yeah.
That's so true.
They're quite honestly, they're necessary, but to a certain dose, right? Like sometimes they're just like, okay, this could have been an email. But they're important and they should be set in certain blocks, especially if you're that person who can't prioritize your schedule.
Yeah.
That's all.
And
Especially if you want to focus on things that are going to make you more wellness focused. I think these are things that can help you.
Well, and sticking with it, right? Because then when a meeting is urgent, I would be the person who would probably shift my break and just say, okay, fine, and then next thing you know, I'm in back-to-back meetings again. So treating it almost as just prioritizing it as much as those meetings.
I was the same way. And you know what? I've really been more intentional since the latter half of last year and the start of this year is the world going to fall apart if I tend to this right away? It's the same problem. It's going to be there an hour from now. So just deal with it when you have the bandwidth to deal with it. Put the guard. I mean, don't let it go for days on end. But, I think it's just important because it also helps to just not put us in a constant state of like flight or fight and just constantly just triggering our stress response. Right. Because we're digital devices want that from us. Right. Like we get addicted to our devices. We get addicted to digital, platforms. We have to be on that email. We have to be on like TikTok, Instagram, but a lot of the times, like nothing's going to happen if you step away from it.
Right.
More often than not, you'll be more equipped to deal with whatever stress is in front of you if you actually like
you can think clearly.
Yeah, totally.
That's great. So I've got one more final question for you. This has been such an enriching conversation. If you could share one sentiment that everyone can leave with as they move into 2026, what would that be regarding health?
Be kind. Be kind to yourself. I think we need to be kind to ourselves. We are such a judgmental society. We criticize ourselves. We don't feel like we're good enough. We don't think that we're doing enough. And we're all busy. We're all so, especially, us in the six, like we're just like, go, busy, chaotic. Everyone's trying to get to the top and do the next big thing. And we all want to be super, successful. And I think, for someone who's been around the block for a while now, been around, I'm older now, guys. Like, I think, I think we just need to not give a, can I swear? Not give a shit. It's to not care so much about, don't do it for others, do it for yourself. Like actually start thinking about what's going to make you happy. Why are you doing it? Like, I think, I used to chase things so much, if I do that, then this will be, this is the goal. And I realized the goal was not self-sustaining for me. It wasn't about me. I was like, this is so like fake. I think I just felt this pressure. Whereas, as I got older, I just said, you know what, I need to do this for what's important to me, my family, my happiness. I need to preserve my inner peace. Cause honestly, like we take on a lot. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, what is this doing for us? If it's not actually going to bring you happiness now, so the same thing goes with like, we all want to be healthier. We all want to look great. We all want to feel good. We all want to be a certain size. We all have these desires. And I think, when you look at wellness, it is for most people something that will get deprioritized. So I think if you're kind to yourself and you have something that's sustainable, I'll just wrap it up. If you have something that's sustainable that you can commit to and realize it's not a race, and you check in with yourself every so often about what those goals look like, I think, you have a higher chance of actually succeeding. Yeah. Because otherwise you don't even know where to start.
That's so true.
That's so true. Well, thank you so much for coming on this show. Can you tell our viewers where they can find you and where they can get some more information?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It was so great to be here. So Integra Health is my business. We are a full suite of health and wellness services under two roofs now. I can't say one. We have virtual services as well across Ontario. So, we're here for your primary care, your mental health, your physical health, and your wellness and rehab and cosmetic needs. You can find out more about me and our business there.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's been such a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us at the table. And I hope our viewers out there got some tangible takeaways as they set their intentions for 2026. So let's make this a great year to remember, and starting off with wellness. So for those of you who are tuning in, thank you so much. Check out our episodes every month wherever you stream podcasts, and we'll see you next time at Table 6.
Yay. Bye. Thank you.